Welcome to my new ASMR channel. Hopefully you can hear me over the rain. I just thought it was really pretty background noise and kind of appropriate for this book. So we'll see how this goes. Alright everybody, we're back inside. I think that's a little bit more manageable. Hopefully that's okay. The rain is just a little too loud out there, but it's so pretty. I love rain so much. So let's go through Order the Phoenix. We have lots of things to say about this book. That's kind of funny. So Order the Phoenix right here. I have lots to say about this book, but we'll see how quickly I can get through this. I hate the negatives, but the big positive is that I like this book way better than I thought I would. So that's a huge positive for this book. I really did not like it when I first, not when I first read it, but when I first read it physical copy, I guess a year or two ago. Alright, so let's start with the negatives. Just in general, Harry's stubbornness, especially with his occlumency, that he just like has this weird bent to like not try, is really frustrating to me. I really dislike that part. That he just like doesn't take anything seriously just because it comes out of Snape's mouth, which is understandable in a sense, but it's like very obvious that he needs to be doing occlumency. That Dumbledore ignores him, which he does admit at the end of the book is a mistake, and that he should have like given handwritten messages or something. Like there was a way around this, that like even if he had to avoid Harry, he could have like given him handwritten messages like explaining why he's ignoring him. Because like if he gave him a note explaining why occlumency was so important, that's not really giving Voldemort any information he can use. That's just telling Harry an important thing that Harry needs to know without revealing anything. So I think that he could have done like letters or something, and it still would have made a pretty interesting plot, and he still would be like avoiding him, and that would be like a mystery that like, why can't I see him but he's still talking to me. I think it would have been like a better way to do the same kind of thing without it being quite as frustrating, if that makes sense. Just the whole creature thing, how horribly he's treated, and how it's very understandable that he like betrays them, especially when you've read the rest of the series and you know how awesome he is in Deathly Hallows. It's really hard to read in this book because you know, just with a little bit of kindness, he could have been awesome the whole time, just like he is in Deathly Hallows. So that's really hard for me to read. And then just Harry getting manipulated. The climax, there are so many ways to avoid the climax of this book. Like 10 different things I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe I'll make a video about that. That'd be a really funny video. I'm just not used to being this negative. But that would be a really funny video about like how many ways can I come up with that the climax of Order the Phoenix could have been avoided. That's a really funny idea. But it's a lot. I can name a couple, but I don't think I have time. Just Harry not communicating in general, which is always a problem with him. I do think this is justified because he grew up in a household where he was not allowed to ask questions, and he was basically shushed and hidden for all first 11 years. So I do understand it. It's still annoying to read though. Just the pacing in general, it's kind of a weirdly paced book in general. The climax does pick up, but I don't know, it's just a weird one, honestly. I think the movie actually does a really good job with this. I don't know if I've said this before on my channel, but this is the only movie that I think exceeds the book is this one, because I really didn't like this book. I like it better now, so I don't know if this is true. I'll have to watch the movie again. But at the time I was like, I like the movie better than the book, and that's never happened to me before. This is my least favorite book and one of my favorite movies. So I really like the movie for this one. Because it takes care of some of the pacing issues. Just just Ron's Quidditch stuff is really frustrating because it's like you're so capable, but you're like doubting yourself. Uh, so I think that kind of frustrates me, but I just don't like Quidditch in general. So any book that has a significant amount of Quidditch in it is like a negative to me. Let me see if there's another one that I'm missing. Oh, Snape. The first occlumency lesson is really frustrating to me because there's so much animosity between the two that neither side explains what they should be explaining. It's like y'all, even though you dislike each other / hate each other, you're still on the same side working towards the same goal. So you should at least be telling the information that you need to know. Like Snape never explains occlumency completely well or correct, or like the purpose or the reason or the importance. It's just really frustrating to me. He just stays very blunt and surface level, and it's just like, well, like Dumbledore says, he should have taken these lessons 100%, but like even if he had like written a letter, like I said, explaining it before the lesson, it would have been like 100 times better. But obviously then we wouldn't have a climax. But yeah, I think the reason I dislike this book is that it's the conflict with Voldemort that like, but there's already conflict in the book, which is Harry and Dumbledore versus the Ministry. So there could have been some other kind of conflict and some other kind of climax, I mean. So like to me, this book is like completely avoidable. Or the ending of the book is completely avoidable. I shouldn't say the ending though. That's a really big thing that I should not say, because the last 2 chapters are also actually in my positives list. So that was a lot of negatives, and I do think I do have more negatives than positives, but I had way more positives than I thought I would. So let's go to the positives now, please, 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 because I really need to talk about the positives. Okay. Fred, George, and Ginny, all 3 of them are amazing in this book. Ginny is really starting to get some development, which is awesome. I'm very excited. I love Ginny. Half-Blood Prince is not one of my favorite books, and she's great in that book, but her development starts in this book, which like people don't really realize because they look at the movie instead of the book. But she has a lot of development in this book, and you actually get to know her in this book, which is really, really fun. It's really just enjoyable to hate Umbridge in this book. She's like the more realistic kind of villain, which makes her very fun to hate. And yes, I did know some Umbridges. I feel like Umbridge is who I could have become because I'm so OCD and type A. It's like, if I was evil, this is who I would be. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Umbridge is very fun to hate. It's introduction to 2 really great characters, which is Luna and Tonks. Really wish Tonks was fleshed out a little bit better, but it is her introduction into this book. And Luna obviously is one of the best characters ever, and I love her so much, and she shines in this book. She explains grief so well in the ending of this book. Like I said, the last 2 chapters of this book are so fantastic. So I really appreciate her role in this book. And also when he's feeling estranged from everybody, Luna is the one who's always like, hey, I'm different too, you know, like come talk to me, which I feel like I'm a lot of people's other different person that can come talk to them, you know what I mean? So, let me see. The scene, just everything with Dumbledore. Obviously he's not in this a lot, but his scenes are amazing. Even though he's making a lot of mistakes behind the scenes where he's actually present are really, really great. You get to kind of get to know him a little bit in this book. So the scene where he flees the Ministry is just so cool. Oh my gosh. And the movie does it really well as well. And then his chapter at the end, his summing up chapter, this is the second to last chapter, is just so good. He's so amazing. He's so patient with Harry's grief. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful talking to, and a beautiful humility of admitting his mistakes to this young boy or young man at this point. It's just so great. I love him in this book, even if he's making a lot of mistakes that I get annoyed with. Sorry, my neighbors. Just Fred and George. I already said Fred and George, but I'm gonna say it again. Their leaving scene is just like the highlight. It's one of the best scenes in the entire series. So, and it's in this book. See, this is the thing, is like, just like in the Wheel of Time, which I just finished as well, it's like, even the worst books have like some really great scenes, and it's kind of like that. Where one of my least favorite books has like the best scene ever. So it's kind of like that. This is not a great book in its entirety, but some of the scenes are the best scenes in the entire series. At least, so I really dislike the climax, like I said, but at least the Department of Mysteries is a great what's the word? It's a great place for the climax to be in, and all the different rooms are so cool and interesting, and it shows like a deeper side of magic, and it's building the world a little bit extra. So even though I hate the climax, at least the Department of Mysteries is interesting enough that it gets me through it, if that makes sense. I just don't like the climax that it's avoidable. The Thestrals, yes, the Thestrals are so cool, and it was a great addition to this book. I just wish that there was a little hint to them earlier. I wish in like the last book someone was like, oh my gosh, what are those horses? Or something like that. You know what I mean? I think it's because their second year would have been the first year they're in the carriages. And that year, Harry and Ron are not on the train. So I think that like kind of explains it, because like Neville would have seen the horses for the first time second year when Ron and Harry aren't around. You know what I mean? But I do kind of wish they were mentioned. Maybe third year. Neville looks uncomfortable and Harry's like, what's wrong? And he's like, it's the horses, or something like that. You know what I mean? So I just wish they were foreshadowed, but I mean, all series can't be Wheel of Time. And then the St. Mungo scenes I really like, with Lockhart and hearing about the Longbottoms, which we already heard about, but it's a little bit more real when they're right in front of you. So yeah, there's really beautiful and amazing and important things in this book that it's still not my favorite, but it made this read through a lot more enjoyable than I expected. I think that's all. I hope I wasn't too negative. I hope that if you like this book, you've forgiven me, because I did say a lot of really good things. I do love it, like, is one of my favorite villains, and it makes Fred and George shine. So I think that's all. I'm so excited, obviously, for Half-Blood Prince. It's my favorite. So I'll be gushing a lot, and I might vlog through it because it's just so special to me. So yeah, I hope you heard me okay, and I'm sorry that I couldn't sit outside, but it's really loud out there. But I think in here it's just pretty ASMR for you in the back of my video. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.